Hi everyone and welcome to another book review. This one is for the book written by Grady Hendrix, which is the Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires. I read this via ebook and audiobook, so I will insert the image because I don't have my own physical copy, although I do want my own physical copy. The audiobook I listened via Audible. Narrator is Bonnie Turpin. She did a really good job, in my opinion. 13 hours, 49 minutes. This was published by Quirk Books in 2020. Told in third person, takes place in the 1990s. A couple of things. You have animal abuse, divorce, rape is mentioned, suicide is mentioned. Kind of like there's this joking threat of suicide, which I don't think that is something to be joked about. You have cannibalism. There's at least 3 instances of body horror. You have a confused adult, so this adult can no longer live on their own and has to move in with their children. And they have like dementia or Alzheimer's, something like that. There's this one scene that made me laugh because it makes me think of this Family Feud episode where Steve Harvey is the host. And it's like, name something, I think the question was like, name something that a burglar wouldn't want to see when they break into a house. And someone says, naked grandma. You got a naked grandma in here. Naked grandma. You have gory animal death, so be aware of that. You have death of an animal that's not so gory. They just kind of pass away and they notice that something's wrong and things like that. You have a lot of talk of missing children and those missing children dying and missing children committing suicide. So suicide does come up for a reason. Another topic that's kind of brought up is racism. For example, how like if a white kid goes missing, they'll get more immediate response from the police, whereas if a black child goes missing, it's going to take longer for the police to respond and things like that. So you do have that talked about, which that is something that I was aware of in the 90s. Seeing white missing kids on the news, but not seeing Hispanic and like black kids on the news because they were missing, but yet, you know, children of all races go missing. That's always bugged me. You do have body horror, and one of the instances is where they are dissecting a body, so it does get pretty graphic with that. You have talk of loss of a parent. And one of the kids in this book gets a special interest, is the best way to describe it. I wouldn't call it an obsession, but definitely a special interest in Hitler and the Nazis, specifically the Nazis. You have talk of drugs being given to children, so you do have some heavier topics. And you do have some scriptures in here from the Bible as well. And a couple other things to be aware of is you have the description of a rape that happens. It does get graphic, and the aftermath of the rape as well. So just go in with caution. It's a horror. Horror has a lot of trigger warnings. That's just something to plan on. Horror is going to have a plethora. I ended up giving this one actually a 4-star. I really liked it. Normally when I read horror, if it's a middle grade, sometimes I'll give it a 3 or a 4, depending on my enjoyment of it. Junjun Ito, I've always given like 4, I think sometimes a 5, but definitely at least a 4. The other horror books I've read generally tend to land on the 3-star range. That I go, it's fine. But I really liked this book by Grady Hendrix. Now I want to read more by Grady Hendrix. So this one we're following, it takes place in the South, so it has all the Southern hospitality, Southern charm. Again, takes place in the 90s, so at some point people don't leave their houses locked, and then, you know, things start to happen to the point where they need to. You're following the main character, Patricia, as she goes to this book club, and this book club forms where they're going to start reading true crime and then maybe a fictionalized version of a true crime event, and they kind of alternate. This new guy moves into town, asks Patricia for help, and there's questions that she answers, but she's kind of just takes things at their face value, and things start to hit the fan. So at one point you do have an actual suicide attempt on Paige, so also something to be aware of. and Patricia thinks she's figured something out, gets backup from people in the neighborhood, and things don't go the way that they think they're going to go, and there's fallout with friends and things like that. And then more stuff comes to light. So that's pretty much all I can say. I don't want to say too much because with the horror, you really don't want to go in spoiling a lot of stuff and knowing a lot of stuff. So if you're going to, you know, just knowing the very basics, especially with the trigger warnings, is, I would say, I would recommend, that's it. Read the synopsis or something. Or if someone gives you a very watered down version of what it is, but anything more than that, that goes more into depth, you might want to steer clear, especially if you're interested in it. Now, the stuff that I'm going to go into more depth are just statistics. These are not going to tell you what's in the book other than specific words, okay? For example, the word Jesus Christ comes up 11 times, hell 6 times, and these can be variations, like God comes up 5, 10, 15, 16 times. The F-bomb comes up 4 times. So fuck. Damn comes up 7, and again, these could be variations, so it could be damn, damnable, damnation, things like that. But definitely at least damn. Bitch comes up 4 times. The word suicide comes up at least 13 times, okay? And the word Nazis is mentioned at least 6 times. So you can see how there is that special interest with that child. There's 3 scriptures that are mentioned, and then the word penis is mentioned once. So those are the stats. I actually really enjoyed this, and so I've got this on my wish list because I will be getting my own physical copy of this book. I had a good time with it. It was kind of slow the first half because you're still building up, trying to figure things out. But then once things started to hit the fan, they started to hit the fan quicker and quicker and quicker, and it got more intense. Yeah, I liked it. So I think I don't know if I want to pick up like my best friend's exorcism next or horror store. I don't know. But I will pick up another book by Grady Hendrix. And this is definitely one that I probably will want to collect physical copies of. So that is something I will be working on in the future. So that's really it. Again, I can't go into much more than that without getting into spoiler territory, which you really don't want to do with the horror, unless everyone's read the book, and then that's fine. But this is just out there so that you have more information for what's in the book as far as certain words and terminology, so that you know if this is something that you want to look at if you were interested but were kind of leery of what would be in it. Now you know more of what's in it. Without massive spoilers, and know if this is a book for you, or with the like explicit rape scene described and the aftermath of the rape scene, you may say, not for me, I can't do it. So, or all the missing children. So, you know, I mean, triggers are different from various person to person. Nothing wrong with trigger warnings. I like to know before going into a book if there's going to be animal torture depicted graphically on the page so that I'm prepared for it. So I completely understand wanting to know what's in a book. So take care of yourself. Don't read something that's going to send you down a negative spiral if you can help it. So yeah, just take care of yourself. You matter, and you are loved, and you are valuable to society. Please don't ever doubt that. I doubted it before, and so I know someone saying please don't doubt that. That's easier said than done. I've been there before. So, but yeah, let me know if you've read this, or if you've read another book by Grady Hendrix. If you've read multiple books by Grady Hendrix, what has been your favorite thus far? Talk to me in the comment section below, and until next time, stay true to yourself and enjoy a good book, and I'll talk to you later.